One of my favourites has to be that fantastic Simca Aronde.
Everybody on the field, a real spectacle.
Look at that for a sidecar. Lovely 6-cylinder Burble. Several more beautiful vintage Austins. The owner of this Morris Minor van has sacrificed a castrol tin for the benefit of his archers. Today on Car Traction, you join me at an absolutely fantastic place. Today we are what I suppose identifies as just some field in Shropshire, but today this field is hosting the Onslow Park Steam Rally, which is basically everything any automotive enthusiast likes. There are 98 of these light steam and traction engines and steamrollers. I don't know how many cars there are, certainly hundreds of beautiful classic cars. There's so much to see. Loads of lorries, classic trucks. There is something for everyone here. Motorbikes, even push bikes. There is so much to see here. So kind of starting in the middle of everything here, but look at this. This is just fantastic. This is an Austin A60 from 1966, but look at this. An original pickup. Now you do see a few of these that are vans or campers, but the pickups you really just do not see. So that is a very rare bit of BMC goodness there. Super cool looking pickup. Just the air adjust before Farina crept into the BMC design. Still curvy, of course, in the 50s before the straight lines of the Farina design in the 1960s. This VW camper would just like a bit of a pickup here, but I want to look what's just beyond. Look at this fantastic Model TT, maybe, pickup there. That wears its age with pride. There's Dad, he still hasn't moved on. He's been there for like 5 minutes now. I think he quite likes the oily rag, and so do I. Of this Ford Model, it might be a Ford Model T pickup, but also there's the TT, larger pickup. This is just fantastic, isn't it? Wooden cabin, probably custom built. It's right-hand drive, which is of interest. Still got its original dealer plate. It's about 5 different colours on it, but it just looks fantastic. These are its original Ford branded spot lamps. Now the rear of this is mounted on like a wooden chassis, which I presume is custom built, as the front is mounted on a metal chassis, but this is all fabricated from wood, mounted by wood, as is the cab fabricated of wood. I really love that. Model Ts are very strange to drive, like nothing else. They had their own unique driving system, but if people could figure it out when cars were a relatively new thing in the 20s, I'm sure I could figure that out, and it would be worth figuring out to drive this absolutely superb vintage pickup. That is brilliant. Got an Austin A40 pickup here, I think this is. Am I right in saying A40 pickup? Is this? I'm sure that's quite popular with you, isn't it? And Thames 500 weight? So it's like the Ford Pop. Yeah, alright. Because we used to have one. Yeah, we did. We used to have one of these, yeah. Yeah, I bet it wasn't as shiny. It was a bit more oily rag. You know, E494C, there you go. On this Thames van, which is effectively a Ford Pop. And it's got the spare tyre mounted on the side there. That is a fantastic little commercial. Should really have started in a bit of a more orderly fashion, but we've got a few Land Rovers here. So many Land Rovers here. A few more modern Defenders. There's Series 3 here. Commercial theme starting to evolve today already. We're not in the truck section obviously, but that's a fantastic Morris van with an original BMC Drivers Club badge up front. Just next to that very nice and original Morris Minor van is this, the fastest milkman in the West. And it wasn't going that fast on the road of some description, can't remember the road number, when we were on our way over. We're in the MX5, but that's too new for a place like this, isn't it? So that's just tucked away in the public car park for now. But to be fair, it is a milk float, not designed for speed, and it's full of bottles in the back, so that's quite cool. You don't see many of these, obviously a milk float being electric. And here's not a Morris minor van, this is the Austin variant. This is a Morris variant, and this is the Austin, like 700 weight, I think it might be, which is effectively a Morris minor van. It's just badge engineering. Some people prefer Austin, some people prefer Morris. There's a lot of brand loyalty around them, which doesn't seem to be as prevalent today. From 1969, this Morris minor Traveller. It's had quite the restoration of that one. It's Lotus Esprit here. Bit of a 007 homage, maybe. Very smart little side valve Ford here. Ford Prefect, so 4-door this one. Nice little mirror added on there. I do like these. They're kind of the 100E shape. I know a couple of them are like 107Es or something. Oh, I don't know my E's that well. But I think it's the 100E shape. These are very sharp looking little cars. These, I do like them. Now this has been on the Car Traction Instagram page. I think it's an MGYT. Yes, MGYT from 1949. One of only 30 in the UK and 158 worldwide. That's a really, really rare car. There was the MGYA and the MGYB. Those were like the saloons. And this is the very rare convertible variant of the said Y series saloon. So that's really, really rare. Very smart MGB. I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of those today. Ford Cortina 4-door, the Mark 1 shape of Ford Cortina. Drive for claim here. Drive badge variant. One of the old Hondas of the era. That one does get around a lot, that one. MG Maestro. Sporty variant, thanks to the Austin British Leyland Maestro, turbocharged. These are becoming very, very popular now. Bit of a 0 to 60 demon there, certainly very fast in the overtaking range. Ford Escort RS 1600i, those seem to be very, very popular now. Another Mark 1 Escort. Very clean one in blue, XR3i. So many Fords, a 1600 GT this one is. This one looks to have been upgraded with some very nice Weber carburetors there, which do look fantastic in that absolutely immaculate engine bay there. Little midget here as well. This is a Marcos of some description. I don't know Marcos too well. An MGA. Daimler Dart SP250. That's an A30 from 1955. That's a really lovely little car. That's the 803cc iteration of the BMC A-Series engine. And just beyond this, very smart Mercedes SL is another A-Series engined car, transversely mounted. That means it's mounted sideways in these. In this Mark 1 Morris Mini. Once again, more BMC badge engineering. These were sold as the Austin Mini and the Morris Mini. As I said, some people just decided to prefer one or the other. Later on they were built onto the Rover name, and in the British Leyland era they sometimes were badged up as those, but this is a very early Mark 1, very desirable cars these now, from 1963, so that's a really, really early one. And here is a Mark 1 Ford Transit camper, complete with a Jaguar Leaper. Not going to ask about that one. Now, a Morris Minor is one of the most common classic British cars out of there, but not many people know about these ones. This is by far one of the rarest variants of the Morris Minor, as it is one of the earliest ones. This is from 1949, one of the very, very first Morris Minors here, known as the MM Low Light. November 1949 to be specific. There were some very loud tractors, but yeah, before they went to the conventional lights, they were all the way up here. In the late 40s and very early 50s, for only a few years, they were sold like this. So that's actually a really, really rare car. Split screen as well, and that's really cool. That is Simca Aronde. I'll turn around because of the mic direction. There's a huge V8 and a tractor behind me, which is very, very vocal. Yeah, this is a Simca Aronde Saloon. Fantastic looking French car, although right-hand drive. The French drive on the left. So is this like a UK market Simca Aronde? Can't imagine many of these must have gone to the UK, but it's certainly preserved very nicely. Really good looking car this, but yeah, right-hand drive Simca Aronde must be a real rarity indeed. Very good looking car though. This is a Vauxhall Victor here. This particular one, the VX490. Is it the FB, FD? Oh, I should know. We haven't been to any shows in a while. Is it FB or FD? Those are some super cool rear lights. If any of you guys, I'm sure, remember these, or any of the amazing classic British cars here, or foreign cars like the Simca Aronde, and do let me know in the comments, were any of these your first car maybe? Do let me know. The Triumph Herald here, the 1250, 1200cc engine, 50 brake horsepower. A little bit of paint cracking, but it looks nice and original there. Morris Oxford here, Morris Oxford MO shape, this one. Great looking car, this. You could say kind of slightly larger variant of the Morris Minor. You can see the body style is very, very similar. I think the middle part of these might be Morris Minor. Certainly the earlier style of dash. Some of the early Morris Minors, like our old MM, as opposed to the big Speedo in the middle. They had, like this Morris Oxford, the smaller one to the side. It's a very sharp car, that. Series 1 Jaguar XJ. I think that Leap is very original in white wheels as well. Wow. White wall wire wheels. This one has been modified somewhat. Manual gearbox, making it quite desirable and rare. Now these were sold as a 2.8, a 4.2 and a 5.3, and this is a 4.2 litre. Yeah, the 2.8 and 4.2 iteration of the Jaguar XK Straight 6 in these, and then there was also the 5.3 litre V12 for the XJ12, although that would have a different front grille. So a 4.2, and it's a Daimler Series 1 for sale for £12,500 from 1973. Now I think this is the slightly long wheelbase one. Super rare if that's an original manual. The Daimler was often the more upmarket kind of version of the Jaguar range. Another 4.2 Daimler Sovereign. And yeah, when they're more upmarket, that usually correlates with an automatic gearbox, but a manual, unless it's converted, that must be really rare. Now what you do see on a lot of Jaguar XJ Series 1s and Daimlers, these very strange exhaust pipes, and if you don't know, that's because when the exhaust pipes were like that instead of like that used to put fumes into the boot which then travel into the cabin, which is not good. So Jaguar decided, you can see it on the other one there actually, to sort of reroute the exhaust tips kind of a bit around to stop it from spreading into the cabin inside. So that's why you see those types of exhausts on various XJs of this era. Or some aftermarket wing mirrors. It does look a very handsome car, that. Rolls Royce Silver Spirit here in bright blue. And there's another very early Morris Minor. This is the Highlight, but it's still quite an early one because we've still got the split screen window. Now this, would it have like a 948cc engine maybe? I think it'd probably be around 948cc, of course, another BMC A series engine. A convertible, that's really rare actually. These are known as the cheese grater grille, as you can see on the front, which is a feature of some of the earlier Minors. Two-door convertible. And there is the earlier style of interior once again. If we see a later Minor, I'll point out the big central Speedo. This has just got the little one in there. We used to have an MM kind of like this, but it was a hardtop four-door, I think, if I remember correctly. And the Speedo was very, very wavy. It was constantly going like that. 1 second we were doing 20 miles per hour, the next second we were doing 60, which is probably a little bit optimistic. But that is one very, very smart and very early and rare Morris Minor MM Cabriolet. MG Midget here, a bit of a sportied up one there. D-bumpered, square arch, very, very cool. Singer Vogue here, Dad's had one of these a few years ago. Didn't have it for long though. Easy Drive, now I have not heard of that. Is it maybe an auto gearbox or something? I don't know this. No, it's a manual gearbox. Obviously Roots Group. Basic same floor pan as likes the Hillman Super Minx and the Humber Scepter. Nice sun visor on that one as well. Very jazzy two-tone livery. Here's an MGYB. Now this is the saloon car that the likes of the YT we saw earlier is based on. This is probably another late 40s, very, very early 50s car. I think they were made until like 54 or something. The Y series MG Saloons, 1.25 litre. 4 cylinders in those. Very smart little Mini here, much later on from 1990. Ford Capri, 2.8 injection. Volvo 242 or some form of 240 series. Another 100E. This is an Anglia, so a two-door. car of the 100e Ford range. Originally this would have been a side valve, but if this is the car I'm thinking of, it's got a sort of fairly tuned up overhead cam engine. Overhead valve, sorry, I meant to say. 1958 originally. Yeah, it's a 2.1 Ford Pinto in this, so that'll be overhead valve as opposed to the original side valve unit in these. So that's been quite modified. Does sound nice, that. I think I heard it leave in a car show once. Triumph held 1360. We saw a 1250 earlier, 1200cc, 50 brake horsepower. This is the 1360, so no prizes for guessing. 1300cc and 60 brake horsepower. Of course, the whole front lifts off on these classic Triumphs for great access, and you can sit on the wheel while tinkering with your carburettor setup, so that is always a plus. Very sharp cars this. I do like the design of the 1360s. Now here's a bit of a later Morris Minor, and if we have a look at the interior of this one, we should see a central speedometer. There you go. So on the ones earlier, like the MMs, it was kind of like over there, which is where the driver's parcel shelf is, but the main design feature of many of the Morris Minors, they made over 1 million of them, is the central speedo in this one. So that's like the conventional dashboard layout in that one, which looks to be a restored car. It looks super clean, that one, with some Lucas twin spot lamps. There's so much to see here. Now here we have a Citroën Traction Avant, or Citroën Traction Avant if you want to understand me. Now these were sold as the light 15, and there was the heavy version as well. So is that like an original Brooklyn steering wheel? That's a little bit sporty for this. But yeah, these were sold as a short wheelbase and a long wheelbase, and I think this is the longer wheelbase, because I'm not sure the short wheelbases have those rear windows in it as well. So this is like the Citroën Traction Heavy one, which is the longer wheelbase as opposed to the light 15. Yeah, you don't see as many of these. Got the very strange setup with the gear lever coming out of the dash, but that's actually a really nice like period mod steering wheel. And that's the sort of thing you see on like Riley Brooklands little hill climb special races, and that is quite a modification on this Citroën Traction Avant front wheel drive. And just next to that is this fantastic looking Daimler 250 V8, of course. Jaguar Mark II with a different engine. Now this seems to have an automatic gearbox. Daimler, as I've said, kind of a more upmarket version of Jaguar at the time. Badge engineering once again, which usually means they're more often found as in an automatic transmission form as opposed to manual. So manuals of these Daimler 250s are very rare. 2.5 litre, I think it might be an aluminium block V8 engine in these, fairly small capacity. But that looks really nice. We've got the sort of semi-spats and some black wire wheels, but that would make a fantastic soundtrack from its original 2.5 litre V8 engine. We've got Herbie, which has had a pink paint job apparently. I've never seen a pink Herbie VW Beetle. There's another Mini there, perhaps a little bit sporty, with a central exhaust. Rover 100, Rover P4, very smart looking car this. Just a proper classic 50s British saloon. This will happily sit on the motorway at 60 miles per hour today. Super usable classic car. I do like these Rover P4s a lot. Superb car that. Rover P6 here. Much later car, more 1970s as opposed to 50s, with the P4 2000 twin carb TC. The Ford Capri Mark 1 here from 1972. It looks like the current owner of this car has had it since new. So that's quite the ownership of this very smart Ford Capri with the number plate perhaps stopping a little bit of cooling there. That's not something I've seen before. Fantastic looking little Mini here. Bright blue Mark 1 Mini. That looks fantastic. This is an Austin one, so we got the slightly differently badged car and the different grille. We saw a Morris Mini Mark 1 earlier. This is the Austin variant, only very slightly different around the front. They're effectively exactly the same car to the likes of the Morris. Yeah, I do like that one. And here's a, is it the Type 3 like estate or something? I don't know too much about VWs. There are so many VW variants based on like derivatives of the original VW Beetle floor pan. That's a really good looking car, that actually. I just don't quite know what the model name is. If you do know, because I'm not an expert on my VWs, do let me know in the comments below. but that is probably one of the best looking ones I've seen. Nash Metropolitan here in the distinctive two-tone. You see a lot of these in the likes of the blue and white, and a few of them in the this sort of like creamy yellow and white, the two-tone. An interesting fact about these I haven't said in a while, the doors are actually the same on both sides. They just drilled different holes in them, because obviously the doors will be different because the doors are different either side, but these are actually the same. So if we were to go around to this side, the doors are actually the same. It just happens to be they just drill differently for either side of the trim, but those doors on either side are actually the original panel from the factory, are identical, so they're interchangeable. So you could put a right door on the left of your Nash Metropolitan if you wanted to. Just assured it doesn't have loads of holes cut in it for the trim. Column shift on these, probably a 3-speed, very much a car geared towards the American market, but I'm not sure it was that successful. Do seem to be quite popular now though, also known as the Austin Metropolitan. Now this is a Simca, is it the SS1? Very rare little sports car. Very early Simca here, 1967, the Simca Coupe. This is a lot earlier than the likes of the SE5As and the SE6As you usually see, which are fiberglass bodies. So this is probably most likely another fiberglass bodied car. Reliant Simcas are often that, but that's a fantastic looking, really early one there. Wartime Jeep done up in a bit of an unusual livery. They're all green, I suppose, so maybe this was like a navy spec one, I'm not sure. We'll have a proper look around all the steam stuff later. Can't tell you as much about these than I can about this. Well, about the cars in general, but look at this. Fantastic 1930s era Citroen pickup. That is just great. Solid wheels, common Citroen design feature. That is fantastic. Brass radiator, so cool that. On this row, a very, very sharp looking Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow Series 1. All the accessories in the back of this one. Super, super cool car. The 6 3/4 Rolls-Royce V8 in these. That's very, very tasty, that. Mark 1 Ford Consul. Mid-1950s era. Really do like these sort of classic British 1950s saloons. These things were just the workhorses of Britain at the time, the family car, the company car. These things were just everywhere at the time, weren't they? And it's great to see the original curvy design still at car shows today. This is a Mark II Ford Escort rally car. Got RS2000 badges, so there might be a bit of tuning trickery. I'm sure there's a fair bit of trickery going on with the preparation of this one to be a competitive rally car. And just beyond that, we're getting our fair share of Mark 1 Minis here. Now it's 2-1 to the Austin Minis. Seen more Austin Minis than Morris Minis. The Morris seem to be a little bit rare, although actually I shouldn't be calling this a Mini because this is actually badged up as an Austin 7. It's from 1961, this car is. So yeah, the very, very first of these were badged up before they were called the Mini. They're badged up as the Austin 7 Deluxe, this one. It's the Austin Mini 7 it says, but I think it would originally for the first couple of years just been literally just called the Austin 7. It's an 850cc A series in that one. 34 brake horsepower. That's actually a decent amount to be fair. That'll probably drive quite nicely, and it'd still be a practical car though. Really, really do like that. Mark 1 Golf GTI. Now what is going on with this? It's a Rolls-Royce Phantom 5. Absolutely huge, this one. 7-passenger limousine built by Park Ward. Wow, it's from 1961, this 7-seater limousine. Wow, that's travelling in style, that, isn't it? Oh, I see. Oh, right, so those seats pop up out of there. I hadn't realised that. There's another one that's folded up there. I was starting to think how you could get 7 people in there. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, unless someone's sitting in the middle, I don't know. But that is travelling in style in that absolutely huge wheelbase. Rolls-Royce limousine, 7-seater. Never seen one this long wheelbase, but I suppose for 7 seats it would have to be. And for 7 seats in comfort and to accommodate an absolutely massive engine, I suppose it would have to be of such a long wheelbase as this one. That's great, that. Now this is a Daimler Conquest Century. It's hard to tell from the back, so it looks like a lot of 50s cars in the back. We need to go around the front. I think it is. Whatever it is, it's got some nice period fittings, nice period radio in there as well. I think it's a Daimler Conquest Century. Need to look around the front for this one. Early to mid 50s in date. I think that's a Daimler Conquest there. Very handsome looking car though. 6-cylinder, I think. I think the normal Daimler Conquest is a 6-cylinder, but there was the Conquest Century, which might be like a V8. It was a really fast car at the time. I think the Century might have certainly a slightly more powerful engine compared to this, which is probably more likely just going to be the standard Daimler Conquest. I'm not too sure about that though. Another Morris Minor. I've noticed recently actually, you don't seem to... Morris Minor used to be absolutely everywhere at shows, but now it's more sort of Ford Escorts and Minis and stuff like that are everywhere at shows, but today we're getting a great share of Morris Minors. Now this is a fairly early 1000. I suppose it probably counts as mid-production at a guess, very early 60s. Let's have a look at the date. There you go, 1961. That's as early 60s as you can get, really. So it's a minor 1000 with the 1098cc engine, but it's quite an early minor 1000, quite an original one. I suppose it's not the earliest, but it's probably mid-production, I suppose. 37 brake horsepower, 28 mpg, top speed 73 miles per hour. But yeah, you could still daily drive something like that. It looks in nice, usable condition. Great looking little car, that. Ford Consul Capri GT. There just seems to be a lot of Ford dominance at these classic car shows you go to. Now we've got another Mark 1 Mini. It's 2-1 to the Austin Mini compared to the Morris Mini. And now it's 2-all. There you go, another Morris Mini. Two Morris Mini Mark 1s we've seen today, and 2 Austin Mini Mark 1s here. I'm counting the Austin 7, the really old one, as a Mini, because it is, isn't it? Alec Isigonis design. One of the first cars to have a transverse engine, certainly one of the first like mass production family cars to have the transverse engine, which is part of the Alec Isigonis design. They're just fantastic little cars. Another Morris Minor 1000. This one has been named Pixie. 4-door 1098cc. Looks like it's had a bit of paintwork at least done to it, perhaps with some other restoration work. Current owner had this since 2021. This is an Austin Cambridge. I think it's the A60. I think this would count as Farina designed. We saw the A60 Cambridge probably once again pick up earlier. As you can see, this is only a few years later, the next generation of the Austin Cambridge A60, but you can see you got the much sharper lines, of course, that Pininfarina influenced in these. We got the curvy 1950s pickup earlier, and this is obviously a lot sharper, which is one of Farina's main design elements. And it's 3-2 now. This is an Austin Mini Mark 1. There's so many Mark 1 Minis here today, actually, but yeah, it's another one to the Austins. It's 3-2 now, because we've seen 3 Austin Mark 1 Minis, just the 2 Morris Mark 1 Minis. This one also badged up as an Austin 7. I've seen this car a couple of times before, and it looks so cool, and it's an original red with some like banded wheels or something like that, a little bit wider than standard. Looks so cool, absolutely mint that one is. And this fantastic little Austin 7 is even complete with a BMC road map. Now I've just skipped rows for a short moment. We will have a look at these to look at this. Now this is trying to look like a sort of 1930s Bentley special. Gonna be honest, it's not my favourite looking body in the world, but this is based on the Bentley Mark 6, which was first produced in 1946. It's the first of the crew era Bentleys when they built and bodied them themselves, but this one has obviously been modified quite a bit later. It's a curious car because I've never seen like a special body on a Mark 6, which is quite a late Bentley. It's probably a bit big of a car to start putting, sort of trying to make it look like a vintage racer, but it's certainly an interesting one. You never see that with such a late Bentley like that, so that's why that one caught my eye. And we'll resume here. Now, I do get quite a few people commenting that they like these fantastic Vauxhalls, so I'm sure this one will be fairly popular. Fantastic Vauxhall Cresta 4-seater convertible. Now, I think being the Cresta, the Velox was the 4-cylinder car and the Cresta was the higher spec 6-cylinder car. Look at this though, American design is just, it's dripping in it, isn't it? That is absolutely stunning. Steel dashboards are very, very cool, but that is one of the most lavish steel dashboards. I like the little Vauxhall logo there, which is sort of the silhouette of an aeroplane. That's, or like a rocket or something. And that's one of many really fantastic design features on this. That's a fantastic car. I would have thought it was an original car. I've never seen a Cresta convertible before though, certainly of this era. But the chrome on that is gleaming. Luton produced car. That's a really good looking car, that. Really do like that. The 50s era, before everyone started going to straight lines, as I said, with the likes of the Farinas earlier. This is nice and curvy from 1954, this one, indicated by the tax disc. That is such a good looking car though. Really like that, and with that 6-cylinder engine that would just roll along absolutely beautifully. The quality of cars we're seeing today is amazing. That is certainly one of my favourites from today. Got an MGB GT here, chrome bumper. Haven't seen a GT yet. There's another fantastic Vauxhall Cresta here. This is obviously the hardtop example, another 4-door one. It's just 2 doors on the Cresta convertible. Just great looking cars, these. Really love those. Trump TR7, I think this one used to, if it's the car I'm thinking of, which I think it is, this used to be a fixed head, but it had a rebody, effectively. And yeah, now it's a convertible. Got a few of the cars going out to the arena. We'll have to see what's going on. Which, yeah, we'll just have a look at them. Because I see some nice pre-war cars, and we do love pre-war cars over here on Car Traction, or at least I do. I'll have a little look around these, just in case they are going to start screwing off to the arena. A bit more Farina goodness here. This is probably a Wolseley 6110, based on the likes of the Austin Westminster. We'll try and capture this lot leaving. Now this is a Mercedes 170S. I did a special dedicated interview video with the owner of that one a while ago. That's a fantastic quality car. 4-cylinder in that. It's a stunning car. I think it was the Swedish ambassador's car originally, if I remember correctly. That's a super, super cool quality car. Oh, they're just parking up. I thought they were dashing off. Got a little Austin 7 special, and that's a Lagonda Rapier, one of the slightly smaller, although we've got 5 people packed into this particular Lagonda Rapier. Super, super handsome pre-war tourer. Love that. Well, I think as this lot are not leaving yet, we don't need to dash and rush around too much, so we can continue with this row here. Got a Ford Sierra here. We're of course focusing on the older cars today. Land Crab goodness here. Austin 1800 Mark II. These used to be very common cars in their day, along with the 8016 shape, the 1100 and 1300, and then this is the bigger, I think it's the 8017 shape, the Austin 1800 B series, and these. That's absolutely gleaming, that one as well. There's a Jaguar XJS, 3.6 litre straight 6 engine in that one. Triumph Spitfire, that's a really early car. Actually, I think it's a Mark 1 even Triumph Spitfire. At least it's a Mark 1 bonnet. Sometimes you see later ones with Mark 1 bonnets. 1965, it would be a Mark 1. Really good looking little car, that. Do like the look of especially the early Triumphs. I'm really looking forward to that pre-war section. Looks to be an exclusive pre-war zone. Looks like there's some fantastic looking cars there. Citroen DS23, I think this one is in a fantastic shade of green. Oh, what is this called? It's the Fiat 500 Light. Is it the Jolly? Oh yeah, the Fiat Jolly from 1969. It's just great, isn't it? If I was being mean, I'd say it was a cut down Fiat 500. I suppose that's the simplest way to explain it. It's an original Fiat thing, it's not an aftermarket thing at all. Fantastic that, isn't it? Must be quite a late one this, because they were introduced in 1958, so 69. Must have made these Fiat Jollies for quite a while. It's a left-hand drive car, so I presume it's been imported here into the UK at some point. Wolseley 1500 here. I do really like those cars. Seen that one quite a few times before. An MG Magnet. This is the ZB, slightly later than as opposed to the ZA, built in 1958, restored about 10 years ago. Single tone. These sometimes came in the MG Veritone two-tone paint job, but this is just single tone. This MG Magnet. A lot of these get swapped with the B series MG engine, which is actually a good modification, to be honest. But you can't tell from the outside, obviously. I do like the steel wheels on these. I do really like Magnets. Fantastic looking cars. We're getting a little bit older here. This is just post-war. This is an Austin 16, which a few people commented last time I saw maybe this car, or a very similar one, quite similar to the likes of our Ford V8 Pilot. It's a 4-cylinder, as of course we've got a 1930s American V8 in the Pilot. It's kind of like the British version of the Ford V8 Pilot, I suppose. Certainly more British than the Ford V8 Pilot, although many of them were sold in the UK. Austin Maxi. Another Morris Minor Cabriolet. It's a later Morris 1000. And a really cool old Humber. I'm not exactly sure what model this would be. I was thinking Hillman Hunter actually, but it says Humber. Now I'm not sure exactly what model this car would be. It's Roots Group, and it's a very late Roots Group car, but I'm not exactly sure. Would it be a Humber Scepter? It'd be a really late Humber Scepter if it was. I think it might be, because the Humber Scepters often had twin lights at the front. And when you usually think Humber Scepter, you think of the sort of Hillman Super Minx floor pan, but I think that's a really late Humber Scepter based on the later Roots Group cars. I think it's a Humber. It must be a Humber Scepter. If I'm getting it wrong, let me know in the comments below. Well, let's have a little wander around the pre-war section here. And we'll start off with this. This looks to be a Model T Speedster. We saw the Ford Model T or TT pickup earlier. Oh, the Austin 6 is being pushed as it maybe had a failure to proceed in 1935 18.6. Nice and original looking car that, but maybe not running in the best form at this particular moment. That's a heavy car to push that. Got a bull-nosed Morris over there. That's a great looking little car. Here's the Ford Model T Speedster. These were raced a lot in period. This one with its original side valve engine, very nice and oily rag. Very, very cool indeed. I do like that. Austin 7 Ruby Cabriolet is quite a rare variant. I think it might be known as the Opal Cabriolet, these. Very nice and original inside. Certainly original seats. Well, that part of the seat's original, but not that bit. That's a good looking little car. There's actually a very good showing of pre-war cars here. Got to the Austin 7 Chrome Rad Box Saloon, Ford Model T, restored example. I think this is an Austin 10/4, this one. Probably one of my preferred, likes of the Chrome Rad Austin variants. That's a handsome car, that, actually. I really do like that. Chrome Rad, probably early 1930s in date. That's a really good looking Austin 10 Saloon. There's an Albion, the veteran car there. Quite the lamp on the front of that one. Morris Cowley is making its way through. Plenty of nickel plating on this vintage Austin. You can see it's not quite the normal colour you'd associate with chrome. That's because these are nickel plated. I think it's like an Austin 12.4 to guess. I should really know. This car's been on the show scene for a long, long time. It's been restored. I think it's a 12.4. Now that's just fantastic. We used to have one of these until very, very recently. A Morris Minor Cabriolet. A lot earlier than the likes of a lot of the Morris Minors we've seen. It's a similar back, but I'm not sure that. I think our back was kind of like this. It had like a little. It's got the same metal banding. It's just that this chrome has been painted over, as ours it was still chrome. Ours was a beautifully original car. It's such a shame to get rid of it. But I think our back maybe came back a little bit further, or maybe it's just perspective because ours didn't have a roof. But I kind of thinking ours might have been a little bit longer. Dad used to have a Morris Minor, the pre-war shape like this, the saloon, and until very recently we had the little green Minor, which was like this. They're gorgeous little cars, these. Kind of the sort of smaller variant, as you could say, to the likes of the Morris 8 Series 1. But obviously these are quite a bit smaller, being the Minor. They're just beautiful looking little cars, those. That's a very sharp looking classic Rover here. Rover did make some beautiful cars in the pre-war era, such as this fantastic Rover 16 Tourer, this one, probably late 1930s. Looks to be the P2 shape of Rover, this one. Very similar to the likes of the P3, which is effectively the post-war version of this Rover 16. Very similar cars though. Some Morris 6, Morris Cowley 6. These are super rare, these. 1934, that one. Once again, the slightly larger, you could say, brother to the likes of the Morris 8, and then much larger than the little Morris Minor we just saw. It's a great looking little Austin 7 racer there. We've got some kind of like brass SU carburetor intakes, isn't there? Those are quite jazzy. Yeah, I do like the look of that little special. Very, very low on its suspension. Nice wide wheels on it as well. Here's the Mercedes 170S Cabriolet. I think it's late 40s, that one, I'd a guess. Yeah, it's great, this pre-war section here. Just beyond the bullnose Morris is the fantastic Lagonda Rapier from 1935. Several more beautiful vintage Austins. Now there's the Austin 7 Ruby, and I think this is the Austin Big 7, which is, it's pretty easy to explain. Oh no, it's Austin 10. Okay, there you go, Austin 10. So this must be the Austin 10 Litchfield, I think. So there was the Austin Big 7, but there was the Austin 10 Litchfield as well, which had a larger side valve 4-cylinder engine. So I think that's what this is. I haven't seen the Litchfield in a while actually, so not as sharp in identifying them. That's next to the slightly smaller Ruby. Now this looks to be maybe another Morris 12.4 by the looks of it. Some of these would have had 6 cylinders, but I think the 4 cylinders tend to be more common. You've got like a fabric body on this one, which is very, very nice and original. That looks just in perfect condition, really. That's very, very nice, that. I mean, how have these things survived? They must have been through the hands of a hoarder at some point to survive. A pair of box saloon chrome rad Austin 7s. Lovely little cars. Another 12. Austin 12. Austin 7 Chummy Tourer. I do really like the look of that, and just next to that is one of my favourite cars in the whole pre-war section, the Rover P1. These just look so nice compared to the P2. The main difference aesthetically is the slightly narrower radiator grille. It's a Rover 10, so these probably have a 6-cylinder in them. I just really love the look of the early 1930s Rovers, probably like mid-30s to early 30s. Nice no-tech lamp on that one. Morris 8 Series 2 Tourer. Series 2 parts on that one. That's a Morris 10.4 saloon just over there as well from 1934. We've seen a Morris 6, which is a really rare variant, and this Morris 10.4 is probably just as rare, slightly smaller compared to the Morris 6, which is just over there conveniently. So you can see how that car's quite a bit wider to accommodate what is a much bigger engine. And these are a lot wider than the Morris 8s to once again accommodate what is a much bigger engine in these compared to the Morris 8 Series 1s of the similar era. 4-cylinder in these, 6-cylinder in the Morris 6. Now we've got a brass radiator maybe on this Austin 7 box saloon. Lots of brass going on with this one. I haven't seen brass on one of these box saloons. Well, that's very jazzy. Austin 7 Ruby. The Riley, that's a really good looking car. I think that's a Riley Monaco, that body is. Very sharp looking car there. We're back at the Wolseley. Very sharp Volvo P1800. Really do like the look of those. And yeah, judging by the duration of this video, I can't tell it yet, but I think we're probably a fair way in yet, and there's a plenty more to see, so do stick around and let me know what you would have driven home in. Would it be the Stag? Would it be the Rover 3.5 litre? There are so many cars. I can't even remember what was on the front row because there's just so much. Back in the Bentley Mark 6 Special, such a strange car that. Look at the size of those Lucas lamps, they are vast. It's just, I've never seen a Mark 6 Special. It's It's an interesting car, this. You've got like some Brooklyn's aero screens on the back. It's huge. I mean, this is Bentley's cruise-owned car. It's not designed to be like a special or anything. Look how far the back extends compared to the rear axle there. That's a very, very unique body on that one. I presume someone's just made it. An MGB GT in white here. It's always a good showing of those. This is a Ford Console Classic, 4-door. We saw the Console Capri GT, that's the 2-door coupe version of these, the Console Classic Ford. The Sunbeam Top at 90 here, Mark II from 1953. Just next to that, it's a Rover P4, 110, so that'll be a 6-cylinder in that Rover P4. Very, very sharp in maroon. MG Midget, Mark I the shape. Haven't seen any Mark I midgets, that's nice. Another Austin van here. This is the 700 weight van, I think it's known as, might be 500 weight, but also of course it's basically a Morris Mine. It's got the same A series engine, professional resplay, no filler, total rebuild to engine, gearbox and diff serviced for 13,250, no time wasters for this very, very immaculate, this Austin van here, which is effectively a Morris Minor van. Side pipes, ooh, I didn't know these had side pipes, look at that. That is an absolutely immaculate Austin van. They're really, really clean. There's a couple of Land Rovers here, a Series 3 and a Series 2A, both short wheelbase. Heinkel, little Heinkel bubble car. An MGB GT, very cool colour that. And I noticed some of these MGBs, they seem to have really big front splitters. Ones of this area, it's a recessed grille, so like 71 or 73, somewhere in that range, but I'm not sure why a lot of these MGBs seem to have these huge front splitters. Is it an MG thing? Is it an aftermarket mod? If you do know, let me know in the comments below, because I've always wondered what the deal is with some of these big splitters on the front of these MGBs. Well, that's most of the classic cars, but there's still packed sections of steam, like all these. Classic trucks, probably a few small light commercials in there as well, and there's so much more to see, so do stick around. Leaf spring suspension on the front of this traction engine, President tractor. There are loads of classic tractors. I don't know whether we'll have time to look at them, and that's quite 40s maybe, quite an early, certainly, little tractor there. These are very satisfying things to watch, certainly when they're running. Great looking road roller there. Fowler, this steam road roller is. There's even a miniature one for sale here. The work that even goes into these miniature ones, let alone these huge ones, must just be so time consuming. To get these up, you have to warm them up for hours. It must have been such a revolution when the likes of the diesel or petrol engine came along, when you could just fire it up, chuck some fuel in it, because these things for road work would have had to warm up for hours. You've got to make sure like the thing doesn't explode, you know. It must have been just such a massive change. We've got the classic tractor section here, and I think we'll have a little look at some of the bikes now. I don't know too much about bikes, but I do like this little 50s or 60s pair of BSA Bantams. Here's one of many ubiquitous grey Fergie tractors. We've got one of these at home. It's not running properly at the moment, whether we'll get round to it or not, time will tell. Alice Chalmers, Fords and Major. Fords and Majors always seem to be quite big things. They've got a couple of scramblers here, but that's an absolutely tiny single cylinder engine on this BSA scrambler. Even struggles to fill the frame. I've never seen an engine quite that small. When you look at these, of course it'd be 2 strokes. It's a smaller engine anyway, but that is an absolute tiny engine, which has probably got quite a bit of pep and fun. So that's the sort of engine I'd usually expect, but that is absolutely tiny, that one. Maybe it's really light, I'm not sure. And that couple of scramblers there, BSA, a Triumph, another BSA. I can only really identify the manufacturers of those really. A couple of Nuffields here. Alice Chalmers from 1952. Good year that. For some reason, We just seem to gravitate towards things from 1952. We had a Morris Minor, that was 52. That was our cheese grater. I think the Ford Anglia was 1952, if I remember correctly. And of course, my CWS bicycle is 1952. Grey Fergie, Farmel, McCormick there, a couple of those. A few older bikes here. We do love the sort of 50s and maybe even a few pre-war ones if we're lucky. Great pair there of the Matchless and Norton ones. Excelsior here, little two-stroke. That's a very handsome Rudge Whitworth. That's probably pre-war era. A gorgeous classic bike. The hand gear selector on these. I do love that Rudge Whitworth. Got a little Honda Cub ST70, but look at this. This is an invalid tricycle. Disabled people, I presume. That's like got like a little. Maybe is it electric? Would it be electric or just like a little? Yeah, I think it's electric. Actually, it would be. A fascinating thing. This. That must be so rare. An original invalid tricycle from 1959. 24-volt electric motor, range of 40 miles. Super rare. That. Fabulous Norton there. Little James, two-stroke, Excelsior. I do like that. Very handsome Vincent here as well. Well, I did say I love the pre-war flat tank era of vintage bikes, and this BSA certainly fits the bill. The flat tank, earlier design, that's probably 1920s. That very small engine in that, probably like a 150cc or something. Very small, beautiful oily rag. It's got a Tastis from 1948, but I think that's probably a little bit earlier than that. That's just great, that, with another flat tanker just next to it. Little unofficial paddock here for the miniature traction engines. These are hypnotising things. This one's running. Let's just get a look at the lovely mechanisms of this. They're so satisfying to watch. Those mechanisms are just glorious to watch. It also smells very nice, so that's another plus to that very amazing little traction engine. There's a few more here. There's a more modern Foden honking away, and that's not so miniature, that one. Wow, look at that Rolls Royce. That is got an incredible bit of coachwork on it. What a stunning car that is. 1930s, judging by the swoopy lines. What a stunning car. Like, look at the size of the exhaust. That's a bit of an unusual exhaust system on this. Absolutely incredible vintage Rolls Royce. That has got, it's not dissimilar to the likes of the Bugattis of the era. That is an incredible body. Look at this though, 1951 BSA with a fantastic bare metal sidecar on it. I know a lot of these were Watts only, but this seems to have a little plaque for VP sidecars. Lovely lamp there. That is just a great setup, isn't it? Fantastic selection of vintage and classic bikes here. Can't look at them all, unfortunately, because there's just so much to see and do and film to bring you guys. Let me know what your favourite section is and what you would have driven or ridden home from today's absolutely amazing show at Onslow Park Steam Rally in 2024. Well, I was going to call this a flat tanker, but that's a really cool round petrol tank on that BSA. That is a gleaming bike, but look at that for a sidecar. Is it a two-seater sidecar? Wow, that is absolutely amazing. The bike is a Panther M100 600cc, and this is a Busmar Astral double adult sidecar. That's incredible, that. Wow. Just spotted this fantastic vintage National Benzol can. Very original condition on this, also suitably original bullnose Morris here. Side valve 4 cylinders, you can see the plugs sticking out of the top of that one. Very, very nicely patinated. An original car there. We can get a better look at this fantastic Lagonda Rapier. It's a 4-seater Tourer body, which is probably a little bit bigger. Mostly these are 2-seaters that you usually see, but you see very, very few of them. Rapier 1100cc, this one. It's a lot longer body than you usually see on these. That's a very handsome car, that though. Well, here's the absolutely insane looking vintage Rolls Royce. That thing looks like a Bugatti. That is stunning. I'll walk around all of it just so you can take it all in. It's just incredible. Look at the streamlining on that. That's probably my favourite car I've seen here so far. Solid wheels as well. Just helps to smooth over the design of the whole car as opposed to like wild wheels or something. It's an incredible looking car, that. Now just over here is a section that I'm sure lots of people can relate to, and a section I really want to look at. A couple of years ago, or maybe even a year ago, I would have expressed very, very little interest in this section, but now, of course, as many of you know, or many of you should know, I of course have a 1952 CWS. And that makes me a vintage bike owner, so it only seems appropriate to have a look at some of these vintage bikes. Now, some of these are absolutely stunning. There's an Indian bicycle over there, the one with the white tyres. These are absolutely amazing. These all vary in date from like the 1800s. There's a tandem there. There's a super original penny farthing. Those are unbelievably expensive, to be honest. The previous owner of my CWS, I think he'd been bitten by the bike bug for a while. He had a couple of penny farthings among other things. The question is though, there are plenty of rallies and stuff, but will there be a CWS just like mine? We'll have a look round. I think the CWS brand is a lot rarer than I initially thought. There's 1936, this rally. I appreciate bikes maybe aren't the most interesting thing in the world for most people, but certainly have become quite enthusiastic about my 1952 CWS, which is, to be honest, an absolutely identical design to the likes of the 1930s bikes. That looks almost identical to the CWS that I have, which is from 1952. Although actually, I'd say my CWS looks older than that because this is on modern tyres. Mine's still on its old like Dunlop tyres or something. The only difference I can really see that's huge with these is the gear selector is down there. Now my one is a Sturmey Archer 4-speed, which is kind of mounted on the handlebars there. Most of these will be a Sturmey Archer 3-speed. There's some tours going around there, but mine's actually a 4-speed, which might be a thing that indicates a slightly later bike, as in from the 1950s like mine. That's an early one there. I don't think we're going to find anyone with CWS just like mine.
Was quite a shy pony.
It wins this rally from 1930s, but the same design was pretty much carried into the late 50s.
And he's well behaved up to now.
Got some interesting racing handlebars on that BSA there. It's like a really old racer.
And she's a Clydesdale, that one. That is why she's got a long tail.
There's a great showing of these classic bikes here.
They like to have them flowing.
BSA Tour de France, a more modern racing bike. I've been tempted by a few more modern sort of 1960s era racing bikes recently. That's an old lady's bike, that one. That's an incredibly old ladies' bike as well from 1930. But no, we have not found a CWS anyone. They must be rarer than I thought.
So, as they were no use for doing any driving or delivering or anything. But in the later years now, there are
all this vintage steam stuff. Albeit I don't know much about it, but it all looks fantastic and it all smells fantastic as well. We don't have time to look at all these unfortunately, but there's an amazing selection of classic Land Rovers here. This is a super early Land Rover from 1949, that one is. And there's plenty Series 2s, Series 2As, Series 3s and Defenders. An amazing showing of these today.
So just before the first complaint commercial vehicles coming in, thanks again to the handlers and the
We even have Fred Dibner, the Steeplejack's old ones. Look at this. This is probably a similar era to my CWS. What is it? Oh, why are we in the MX-5? £25. What is it then? Can't quite. I think it's a BSA. I think. Oh, that's such a lovely vintage bike. That BSA. Look at the saddle, Dunlop saddle. So nice that. Oh, we even have miniature trucks here. It's a guy, allegedly. And that's a Vulcan. Those are great, aren't they? Things you see just wandering around, eh? There's several more of the little steam traction engines rolling around. I think the lorries are coming out for their time on the arena now. It's a fantastic, probably pre-war era Leyland there. Diesel by the sound of it. Maybe not, actually. Not exactly sure. Wow, look at that. Another Leyland. Really early those are, actually. Yes, another Leyland. A cab over one there. That looks fantastic. Followed up by a very handsome Morris commercial. That's in gleaming condition, that. Great looking pickup that, actually. Albion. 1920s and 1930s Leylands are coming in now. Probably better they're going round clockwise as all the exhausts on these are pointing on the other side of us at the moment. They were a little bit smoky, but they are almost 100 years old now. Maybe some are 100 years old. They do look very early, these.
Right, so we'll have a quick chat about these. I'll capture very short.
Right. Now, when I come along here now, I knew that the one wasn't a channel, and I was quite right. That's it, belonging to the subsectory zone. It's a private area. The real unit is what I'm building. And now to my liking, they're a Vulcan now. We ran time they came from the railway board, went into BRS and things like that.
Another Leyland behind. I'm not exactly sure what that one is. It might be a guy, maybe. Very unusual design to that truck. Great to see these out and about moving. Another Leyland. Plenty of those here today, really early ones.
What have you? I've just noticed the man there. Susan Ransom's, here we go.
It's a Sentinel, that one. That's got a gorgeous front on it.
The man who's catching it. Red day, not commercial, not just on Brian. That's right. PM U637, 1936 model. Only the third owner. If we go to the rest. Here we go. Alan Williams, who's Albion. 1017 model. Alan Williams locally at the Bourke Mountain Range, who's absolutely great.
Thames 4D. These just all look fantastic together, don't they? Lots of these now modified with living accommodation on the back. That's probably living accommodation under that old style tarp. Makes staying over at these sort of 3-day weekend steam rallies a lot easier. The little ones are going out now, just over there, followed up by the collection of Leylands. Those are fantastic trucks, those.
Very nice to do yesterday. Good afternoon, first morning. From Matt. You're all for 3 up on the top there. further on the country. As normal as usual.
Thames Trader is next in.
That is one of the oldest vehicles there as well, as you can see. A lovely little thing, there's very rare in this country. Our fleet's gone by. Oh! They're actually all. So, the man who sells to
British Railways Foden.
Put in the joint motorway colours. Somebody's waving at me frantically, yes.
Another Dodge.
So there you go. Vet's there as well, the owner. Nice to see. It was first owned by a food and drink merchant in Manchester, and then owned by Walker's Fairground. Now, three letters comes to mind: fairground, the circus, the older vehicles. That's how the vehicles are kept. That's how we've got them now. They've been in the usual state. So, and then it ended up with Jeremy Victor from George Chapel. Ripper's owned it since 19. Unusual name is Shrewsbury, obviously, that's the name of Shrewsbury. Even sold off. There he is. 1950, he's owned it for 20 years. First registered in 1490. Until yesterday, I didn't know his previous owner, but I met him yesterday. I do know the name David.
An Austin FE Series 3 from 1959.
It would have had a livestock body on the carriage sheet. The Jones family from absolutely thousands of acres on the London. The Mitchells and Butlers, Leyland Comet, 9, you know, smaller towns, gravel campers, demolition campers. And going on from that, you come on to the best two owners anyway. And then, change the boards I see, different colour scheme. Same shed on the back. We're from the Peterborough area, we're carrying sugar beet and further over. That's the sort of history it has. Now it's in the hands of you get them on the street.
Bit of the wet stuff starting to close in now. Ugh. ERF still soldiering on. Look at that, a little carrier. I think that's comma related. Comma carrier among many other lorries. Absolutely packed section. Wow, all these vintage trucks just keep on coming and coming. There's just so many of them. Very chunky Leyland Super Comet there. I quite like that one. And Albion, one of the ones with the, what must be one of the best visibility. Certainly for the front at least. AC Mammoth, 4-wheel steering. These are one of my favourite classic trucks. Just so sort of powerful these look. Absolutely huge, towering over a lot of the slightly smaller and newer trucks. Probably 50s in era. That just looks great, that. Foden's joining the queue. I think all of the trucks are sort of cycling around the arena. All the way over there. 4-wheel steering in action on the AC Mammoth Major. That's quite a chunky one, isn't it? There's a bit of a gridlock. I think we'll just walk down here. I was going to look around all these parked up, but it's even better to see them all running. This is what I wanted to see. Look at that. A Ford Model T bus. That is fantastic. Pratt's petrol can on the side in the correct colour scheme. And if one isn't good enough for you, then there's another slightly shorter wheelbase. I wonder if the other one was a TT. That's great, that. And here's, what is this? Maybe oh, it's a Leyland. There you go, Leyland, beautiful vintage bus. 50s in era. I think now all the buses are coming out. Half cab Crossley there. That's magnificent, that. Single decker coach. More Crossleys. So much to see here at the Onslow Park Vintage Steam Rally. I love half cabs, really handsome design. Crossley there. Good thing about these is you can bring all your friends. That's a duple bodied bus, that's a gorgeous body on that. Don't exactly know what it's based on, but it's a duple body on it, which basically means it's curvy and beautiful. Really long wheelbase that one as well, actually, as I suppose these all are. This is a London Transport, is it a Morris Commercial, I wonder? Shorter wheelbase and a bit smaller. I wonder if it's a Morris Commercial or... Oh, it's a Guy. Okay, so that's a Guy. That one is top speed 30 mph to be legal, of course. So that is a Guy coach there. Very, very nice. A Leyland double-decker bus. That's massive, that. The Bedford CA just behind. Camper there.
Not much amazing on here, but it's obviously the standard phone there, 28 with a short wheelbase, good old vehicle, usually a phone two-stroke or a drive engine for a way to go. So what are we rolling? Another 18 number stage.
And that's a Bedford, this one, probably late 60s, early 70s, maybe even later actually. Look at the size of the glass window on that though, that is huge. Not as long wheelbase as some of the buses. But that is very, very... The size of the windows on that, you know. All curved glass, you know. Quite a late bus, that is very sort of lavishly designed. And gracing this classic rally is a Proficient Cyclist badge. I've got exactly the same badge on my CWS at home. Please focus camera. Do you recognise that little badge, Dad?
Badge?
The badge.
On what?
On this rally here. It's under the seat.
Oh.
Proficient Cyclist.
Cycling proficiency. Yeah. It's the only other one we've ever seen, I think. How about this plastic bike?
What is it?
Is it Italian or Swedish?
Itera. Wow. Oh yeah, that is Swedish 70s plastic bicycle. Wow. Oh no, everyone, it's gone. It was too much work. It was too much work. Do you actually want an old bike? Oh. Interesting. There's another one of the Emerton coaches.
There we go.
Now we have already seen a lot of the classic trucks going around on their parade, so we obviously won't look at all of them because I'm conscious people have lives, they don't have time for 4-hour show walk-around videos. But look at these are fantastic little replicas, even with a little petrol engine in that Scammell. 2 of these were going around, but 2 Scammels weren't, but the guy in the Vulcan were. These are just fantastic little things, aren't they? Now this is a white, almost veteran, probably early 1920s in date, and I guess as you can see, no windscreen at all. You just be windy, I suppose. That's an incredible thing, that. There are so many of these. Got the 3 Leylands here, those ones we saw earlier. Bit of steam here. There are a few on the left here that didn't go out on the run, such as the ASC AEC Mandator, another AEC, a tanker body on that one. Guy over there as well. Several ERFs. The huge Mac here, an American one, obviously. Love the look of these ERFs. The KV from 1956. Bristol there. The Peterbilt, huge American truck, and a Scammell Scarab. 3-wheeler on this one. Now here's this curious guy Nice little enamel badge on the front there. I thought I'd have a look at this one, but I just cannot figure it out. Now the tax disc is from 1942, and this has got a very sort of military, simple looking front on it, if you know what I mean. So with that date and this styling, kind of like the Dodgers, I think, and Fords of the era were very similar to this. Did this start out as like a military, like RAF, like thing carrying truck or something? I'm not sure. It might just be the styling from the time. You can see the engine must get a fair bit of cooling out of there. Yeah, it's a curious thing that if anyone does know the story with this peculiar guy, then please do let me know down in the comment section below.
Boys and girls, everybody on the field, a real spectacle of transport heritage. And please notice that unlike the roads on the Welshpool Road, coming in, there are no traffic jams. The riders are all completely on control, and whilst the volume of riders is amazing, something spectacular, and everybody knows exactly where they're going. Of course, one application of motorbikes that you won't see on the grid today is the wall of death, the fairground attraction using Indian motorbikes. Now the Indians chosen for riding the Union on the wall of death with its ability to ridden at a constant speed. I think it's something I've had a nostalgia pride.
That's really old.
Great to see such an amazing variety in the bikes. We've got some more modern bikes, some 60s era bikes. Got the sidecars, the streamlined one there, looking great. There's a few scramblers going around a little bit faster. That's a Greaves there. There's a few lovely 1930s and 20s flat tanker bikes. Got the sidecar over there. That sidecar's gorgeous. And yeah, the 1920s bikes just look fantastic.
We need to get the more description. There's your ring, lovely name.
What I hadn't even noticed before, there's an absolutely vast selection of military vehicles on show. That's an EC Mammoth, I think these are. Look at the size of the engine in that. Some of the coolest trucks, these little scout car there. That's a Green Goddess, a Bedford fire engine, and that's a Minerva, a Belgian-built Land Rover, sort of like copy type thing. Yeah, Minerva, super rare. Austin, is that a K8 or K2 or K something? That's very cool though. What's also great to see is that rides are being given around, but they're being towed by lovely old tractors such as that David Brown. Morris Commercial here, another military one. What is this on the end? Looks to be foreign. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that one is. This military section is absolutely huge. You get a good view of it on there, don't you? Ford Control Land Rover. Another absolutely massive AEC. A couple of little bikes. Absolutely massive Dodge just beyond the Bedford. Look at that. First tank of the day as well. Lightweight Land Rover. A push, Steyr push. That is Pansgauer. The Steyr push, I think, is a German brand. That's probably 80s. I really don't know much about military. That's like a Daimler Scout car with a tank. Bit of a desert livery, that one. Look at that, the Tiger tractor. Absolutely gorgeous traction engine. Now here's a real puzzler. This looks to be a fairly late Ford Model T. It's still got the original engine. You can tell a Ford Model T by the somewhat primitive electronics if you're not sure about the whole shape, but as you can see, it's got quite a bit of metal on the back of that one. So it could even be a World War I thing, but I've never seen one like this before. I don't know whether it's an original thing. It's got a custom built like wooden chassis body, so it might be like an original wartime thing. But yeah, I've never seen Model T quite like this one. Got an SO petrol can on the side as well. Indicates a slightly later Model T, which is sort of, I think the Model T's ran on to about 1921, somewhere around there. So it probably wouldn't be World War I era, so whether it's just a creation, a random thing someone's built, or if it's an original thing, I don't know, but I'm sure it's a Model T. That's a fascinating thing. There's a little tank here. Carry a machine gun, there you go. That's a very, very peculiar Model T. I think that's a post-war era Jeep there. Nice little trailer on the back of that one. Defender, much, much more modern. Is this like a sort of Jeep, like, not replica, but like a Jeep type thing, but not a Jeep, if you get what I mean? I don't know. I feel like it might be like a foreign built like Jeep thing in the 60s maybe. I'm not sure about that one. My knowledge on military stuff is appalling, isn't it? But I'm pretty sure that's a converted Model T. Got a couple of nice petrol cans on the back of that one as well. I think we've stumbled upon the tractor section here, but look at this. This is a great bit of sort of veteran machinery. There's some kind of implement on the back there. Look at all those linkages, and maybe do with a bit of WD-40 that. But I'm sure it doesn't see much actual genuine use. But look at that. The tyres, it doesn't have tyres, it's just metal rims that dig into the ground. That is absolutely incredible, that. Solid metal tyres on the front as well. Farmall, really early, 1944, there you go. Look at that. An International this one is. Wow. What an incredible tractor that is, so early. I think it's probably actually steam powered by the looks of things, so steam powered like tractor type thing. That is incredible. When you often see the traction engines and things, they're often like huge, but this is, it's big, but it's quite a small mogul engined tractor here. But for something steam, it's probably actually quite a small steam engine in that one. It's an incredible looking thing. Really, really love that. There's another Farmall here as well, with a very, very narrow front wheelbase. 1944 this one is. I wonder what the reason for that is, having those so close together and with that much positive camber. Very narrow tractor, maybe to fit into forests or something like that, I'm not sure. Now, this is another fantastic early tractor. Maybe a Fordson, this one. Doesn't look to have too much silence in this one, judging by that exhaust. And Alice Chalmers, there you go. Wow, that is absolutely brilliant, that. Another veteran tractor over here, a Wallace. But look at this grey Fergie, it looks super, super oily and cool. But look at that, it's got like an aluminium hardtop. That's really, really cool. The tractor itself is in lovely condition. A lot of these tractors are very original, but a few of them look a bit sort of crusty and like they need oil, but this has had plenty of oil by the looks of things. Looks almost like it's had boiled linseed oil gently wiped on it. That's what we did with our 47 Dodge pickup, which is in quite similar condition to something like this. It's 55, this particular tractor. But yeah, just the tractor on its own as a Fergie, it's absolutely lovely, that paint. It's just mellowed absolutely beautifully. Look at that. It's got like a really cool aluminium thing. That is 54, there you go. The current owner is the third owner. But yeah, that's an amazing Interesting how it's fastened on. It's got a little window there for visibility so you can see where your tyres are, but it's actually really cool and streamlined. I presume that maybe goes on the back. Well, it says the date's 1955 on the back here. A bit of machinery here, but it's so lovely condition, that one, and the hardtop's amazing. Well, this show is absolutely vast. Looks like we've got a bit of a ploughing competition going on over there, which I'll have a little look at. Look at that early John Deere. Maybe a bit of slight rubber in those tyres, but certainly very hard still. That's a cool little one, that green one, isn't it? Just beyond that, a little Ford built tractor. Yeah, we even got a ploughing contest going on. Something tells me it's time for the military ones to go into the arena. That looks really appropriate with the sort of netting. Reminds me of the Italian job money transporting van, that actually. So that's a Packard, that medical ambulance is, obviously American. Stunning car, that. 1941. Lovely 6-cylinder Burble. AEC's on the move. That's amazing, that. Didn't actually see that this one's got like a huge missile launch or something on the back. Got a miniature railway here as well. I think I called it an AEC earlier, but that's actually a Scammell, the one behind. So apologies if I did do that wrong. The size of the wheels on that. Incredible things, these. Vast Scammell. Lovely little Fordson, didn't see that one. Great sounding 6-cylinder in that. Steam here in all shapes and sizes here at Onslow Park today. Perhaps the smallest iteration of Steam, that one. The tooled up Model T's on the move. Well, here someone must be trying to impersonate my shed. We've got a lot of lovely vintage tin cans and things. I've got a Red X UCL just like that in my shed. I've got a bigger version of the Shell X100 pour. I've got a Shell X100 tin. It's like a home from home. Yeah.
In your dreams.
The Belgian manoeuvre. Quite a queue of traction engines. Look at the lamps on the front of that. Wow. Road roll here, obviously for flattening roads. Some of these come past us, Dad knows. Certainly one person with a steamroller. And it does leave quite a pronounced groove in the road. I suppose they still do their job well, and the fact that they still weigh, I don't even know how many tons, but many, many, many of them. Some more gorgeous lamps on the front of this one. To be fair, all of them have gorgeous lamps. They're all absolutely stunning. Bits of illumination. I suppose these would have been working day and night in their time. Oh wow, look, a Stanley steam-powered car. That is absolutely glorious, that. These all smell fantastic, I've got to say. The smell of coal burning is not a healthy one, but it is a good smell, you know. I'm not going to be fooled by this one. I don't think it's a Ferrari. It's a I don't even know what that says, this road roller. Just amazing, these things. Obviously all queuing up for their time in the arena. Wonder what they're like for cooling. Stunning Sentinel lorry. As I said, probably a long time ago now, there are 98 steam-powered things here. And it certainly feels like it when you walk down two huge avenues and there's still just mountains of them. That's amazing, that black one, wow. The steam sapper. Oh wow, I didn't even see these earlier. It's got to be the most steam lorries I've ever seen in one place. Most being Sentinels. Look at these. Yeah, definitely the most steam lorries I've ever seen in one place. Didn't even see all these before. Very early 1900s in date. I especially like this matching pair of tarmac ones. Believe it or not, this ride is steam powered. There's the engine. Wow, that must have a few years on its belt.
Harley's left me alone with his camera, so I'll record a little clip here from the driver's seat of the MX-5 at sandwich time before we head back over into the main show field.
Engine. So we stand here, we go back to Fowler's again, and as the Aveling clears its way, you can see a Fowler's enabled agriculture to develop at a much faster pace than they could with horses. And once this Sentinel's moved past us, you'll be able to see the convertible that's still a steamroller. It works, you can see for algorithm and road. It was sold all around the world. And Tony's going to tell me off in a minute. But engine was made in Tasmania. It's got a long colonial firebox so that you could burn wood or in.
The owner of this Morris Minor van has sacrificed a Castrol tin for the benefit of his archers. Didn't see this great Reliant van earlier. Of course, known for having the motorbike front. There's also a Herald 1250 van.
Ladies and gentlemen,
back to today. First in the arena from commercial vehicles in November 2002, articulated vehicles, in other words, practically. Some of them the trailers were up. Owned by Mr. Watson. On the pole. All very soft. Brought out in 1959. As broad features in substantial special for using the favourite
Amazing selection of Land Rovers here today. There's the really early 1949 Land Rover.
Lee Naylor from Church Stretton, a 1974 series, 3 and then number 19, Rebecca Byrne from Shrewsbury with her series. There we go, number 4, Shrewsbury, got in Shrewsbury, 1960 series 2. Local to us.
That Austin van is lovely, didn't see that one earlier. Lovely twin windows as well.
The oldest one we've got here, I believe. Pat Kane from Wolverhampton. With his 1949.
Looks like pretty much all the classic cars and light commercials are coming out for this one. The Reliant van is there.
Probably registered in tomorrow. Number 5 in your book coming by now. Andrew Jones from Webb. Another Series 1. OSL 480. And then of course,
just behind the milk float is the Morris Minor van, complete with a few old tins as repair panels.
It's a steam fair, yeah. All right. So that's that. Number 9. Anything about then we come to the veterans here. Very successful range vans. Then we come, remember the 3-wheel motorbike.
My generation, I certainly grew up in the 70s.
Oh my goodness me, you're not having that here, then.
I think I'm now 7.
Oh, my goodness. Look at that lovely one.
Oh, the Esprit, Lotus Esprit. Again, that was my childhood.
Another 4, the very popular range those sorts
That Scimitar is one sharp looking car, that. Do like that. The Reliant Scimitar SS1 much later behind, the Austin Metropolitan. And the VW, that's a VW variant, that's called. There goes the MG YT. We've had a Morris Mini in the arena already, that's one of the Austin Mini Mark 1s. Looks like pretty much all the cars are here. The one owner Capri, its very first owner still sat in it. Rover P4. Didn't see that 1275 GT.
What do you call it?
Let's go, let's go. Come on. Fort Mexico, look at that.
Proper job.
Can you even hear that?
There, I'll tell you. Wasn't made for families, you realise that, eh?
One of my favourites has to be that fantastic Simca Aronde.
These aren't, this is, it's down by the, down those working people, just on the side where the milkshake place is. It's like they're doing fish and chips, that's all they're selling, is fish and chips.
I'm going
The very sharp Daimler 250 V8. Really good looking car that.
Where do you think that car from?
Just following the Morris Oxford MO. And there's the Citroen Traction Avant. It's the long wheelbase, but that I think is the Commercial, because if we look at the back, it has a lift out back. It's a whole hatchback, which is not normal, so that's kind of like a van variant of the Citroen Traction Avant. So that's really rare, and I didn't realise that earlier.
And then we come to the Reliance.
That is one of the cleanest looking Morris Minors I've seen in a long time. Panel gaps, everything absolutely immaculate on that one. Same can be said for that Herald actually, the 1360 we saw earlier. The tuned up Anglia with the Ford Pinto engine there. The 240 Volvo, there's the other Mini, the Morris Mini. Ankles going around as well, Capri. Mark 1 midget.
different there, VW Type 3.
Yeah?
There can't be many of those around.
No. Yeah, look at three.
I had several
My sister's
Singer Vogue looking very, very sharp in that two-tone livery.
Over 110 like that before.
There's another midget. I did quite like the look of that one actually. Another Mark 1 midget with the earlier style of grille. The Morris Minor Series 2, that might be a convertible. Certainly an early Series 2. Silver Spirit. There's the MGYB. I was watching the Anglia Car Auctions live auction feed, and because that's such a fiddly place to get to, and I don't think there's much love for the sort of 30s and 40s cars at the moment, a YB that looked perfectly straight went for around £2,500, which if I was there I would have been tempted if I'd saved up for a few more years. There's the low light Morris Minor just behind, and the Humber Sceptre. I often watch the Anglia Car Auction live streams for the classic car auctions, and I'm editing these videos, which does take a long time, so do subscribe if you do appreciate the work that goes into these. There's the Rolls Royce Phantom 6, an insane car that. There goes the Oxford MO. Here's the Morris Minor convertible. That's just lining up behind the very sharp Austin 16 over there. The Fiat 500 Jolly. Citroen DS23. You can get another look at the lift out back of that Citroen Traction. Really, really peculiar one that. There's the Mark 1 Triumph Spitfire, really rare car that now. Just behind the Wolseley 1500 is one of the Morris Minis. We've seen 2 Morris Minis today and 3 Austin Minis, so Austin's just put them at the post. That is a very, very clean Mark 1 Mini. There's more Mark 1 Minis here today than actually any other. All the later Minis that weren't Mark 1s added together. So many. The early ones, the Volvo 240s just behind the Mark 2 Escort Rally car, and another Rover P4. Those look like a really usable classic car that can just sit on a motorway comfortably. I could definitely see myself in one of those.
Way differently those things from the wrist.
That's just behind the Consul Capri GT, which is the coupe, pillarless coupe variant of the car behind, the Ford Consul Classic. And there's another one of the Austin 7s, the Austin Minis.
Morris 1000, number 3.
1940s,
The early one.
no indicators on that.
The big old days.
Behind the very sharp Austin Cambridge is the Mark 1 Ford Consul. That looked a really, really nice car. Just a 4-cylinder in those as opposed to the likes of the Zephyr or Zodiac. There's the third Austin 7, the Austin Mini Mark 1. With the low light Morris Minor just pulling in behind. Oh, there's the Cresta, the 4-seater convertible Cresta. Fantastic car that. An MGB GT. Haven't seen too many MGBs today actually. Seen some real rare stuff today. The Daimler Conquest in the background. The Vauxhall Cresta up front.
Yeah, this is the gear commissioned by the owner of roundabout for his private runabout for his private yacht. Proves the popular wedding production.
That Series 1 Silver Shadow was really a lovely car, looked really straight.
It is.
Very, very classy.
3.6.
Austin van, basically a Morris Minor van, just in front of the Fiat Jolly. Another MGB GT, I'm not sure, I think I saw that one actually. And the DS23 just behind.
And then we got the lovely little Mini. Yeah.
No, well, I was a label for
F-Red 6768. Another one, another good workhorse, TJC.
Super pleased to have it resprayed and chucking it in the garage. Said, why don't you paint it yourself? So I painted it and took it back to the garage.
Of anything you wanted, really. Yeah. And then you don't see him out. Yeah. I think he still uses it. I am not sure.